And guys, also going into this video, I want to ask that we all can respect each other's beliefs and opinions. I believe that with this video, it is not a means, and I want to stress this, it's not a means to force you into believing anything. If anything, it's more of an explanation of who I am and why I am the way I am. And coming to realization myself of that as well, of looking at my actions and sitting with the things that I've done that I'm not necessarily proud of. It came to the point where I realized that Michaela was young and misguided and naive and lost, quite frankly, lost. And I forgive her for that. I forgive that version of myself, because that version of myself had a lot of really great memories with a lot of really great people who I still love to this very day. Everybody that I've ever said I love you to, I will always hold love for every single person that I love, and that is no cap, because I am a person with a heart that is huge, and the people that know me most know that is true. So this is not a video at all to cause stir or to cause any problems within connections of mine. If anything, it's for me to make peace with this shift in my life, to make peace with the fact that I have to move forward now, and no other way forward was working for me then. No other way forward did anything for me. You know, I've tried endless jobs, endless jobs. And I've tried so hard to make my family proud, the people that I love proud. And it came to the point where, yeah, I found a really great position at Air Canada. And I love that job. I love that job so much. I love the people there so much. But sometimes when there's a niggle in your heart, in your soul, that is telling you that you're in the wrong place, and it comes to the point where you can't ignore it anymore, then it comes a time where I myself, living within my own self, had to make that decision to feel comfortable with myself, to feel comfortable living and being happy with being in control of my life and feeling like I was in control. And at first it was sloppy. That's an understatement, but it was sloppy, but the intent was there, and the moral was there in the soul sense, you know, not necessarily in the mind sense. Being young and naive as I was at that time, it was necessary. It was so necessary for me to go through that, to hurt that badly, to feel that lost. It was inevitable that I would make it here, because there was no other option for me. You know, realistically speaking, I would go to work and I'd have a great time, but then I'd come home and I'd get out of work mode and I'd sit on my chair and I'd be like, I gotta do this for the next 25 years? And it was almost like a scary feeling. Like I just felt scared of it. Like I was just like, what? Like, oh my God. Like, and it wasn't something that I felt comfortable with. It wasn't something that I was comfortable with in the end. And I knew it came to a point where I had to get my mental health back in order, because at that point it was running very thin, and it was getting obvious at work, because, you know, I was getting sick at work. I was having panic attacks at work. It was horrible, you know. Like, loved my job. I was going everywhere. I was everywhere, and I was like, that I was everywhere at that job at Air Canada. But and it was so much fun. I learned so much about the world and about cultures and about different types of ethnicities and races and ideas that I never really was around growing up. You know, I grew up in Oshawa and in Scarborough in Ontario, Canada. But there was this sense of diversity that was just so rich to me, and I just loved it. So I love it. I still love it to this very day. And you all know I love you so much. But it came to the point where I needed more. It felt like I was like, okay, I reached this goal. I've reached this peak. Now it's like, the song Sabrina Claudio by Cycle, I'm going to put that down below. I didn't make it that far to only make it that far. She says in the song, what did she say in the song? She says, I didn't make it this far. I didn't make it this far just to make it this far. And that for me, I heard that lyric for the first time and I was like, what? Like, everything just clicked for me there. And, you know, in the days, it all makes sense looking back now, because in the days where I felt the most lonely and in the days where I was most sheltered and most heartbroken, you know, I always had in my religious beliefs, I call God Jehovah, but for general purposes, I'm going to say God. I would always have these thoughts, and you know, that was kind of what was conduiting my belief that I had mental, like very strong, uncontrollable mental illness. Because, you know, this is not to say that mental illness is not a thing, because it is, it really is, and it's a very serious thing. But I was kind of blowing it out of proportion. You know, I was kind of making everything bigger than it seemed, because that's how it was in my head. And I was having, it wasn't thoughts as in like another voice, it was just like extra thoughts. Like, that's the only way that I can say it. It's like extra thoughts on top of my thoughts. And I honestly thought that it was my thoughts for the longest time, but then I started seeing synchronicities in things that I would be thinking, and then things that people would say, or I would start, you know, thinking like, oh, this person is not home. My mom's not home. But then I'm like, but why do I feel like she's home? And then she would walk through the door like 2 seconds later, you know. Weird stuff, like weird things like that, you know. And it's very important to make sure that it is very clear that these are not witchy things, and there's nothing that I have done to encourage this. There has been nothing that I have done intentionally to receive the gifts that Jehovah has blessed me with. Point blank, period. That's just the fact of the matter. I did not do anything other than go through a lot of shit and learn from it and think positively and keep motivating, keep strong. Always. I have my moments where I would lose my top because there was so much happening that I was just so overwhelmed that I had no other reaction other than to just explode. Or if it was in case of a job, just to walk out the door and leave. Because it got so much, it felt so foreign, almost kind of like, this doesn't seem right. Like, this isn't right. Like, wait, like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, and it would almost feel like, almost instantly, like, shoot, like, did I waste my time? And then all of these thoughts would just come and one thing led to another. You know, codependencies for me were a really big issue. when I was younger, alcohol and I were not friends. I've gotten to know my limits now. However, I don't drink regularly. I smoke a lot of weed, and that is just an honest truth, an honest fact. It's something that I'm working on. It's something that I'm trying to work through. I'm trying to work on it slowly. And going back to my original thought, being honest with yourself is so, so important. It's so, so important to be honest with yourself, even when you don't want to be. Because I promise you, for me at least, and I promise it will work for you, letting go of the pride and the ego within you and the shadow side within you that tells you that you're not worth it, or tells you that all of this is never going to get any better, or all of this is just going to continuously, and that the only thing that I need to do is go and get all this money for myself and just be selfish and hide and hog all my love and hug all my affection for the world. No. The person, it's very, 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 very hard for me as an empath, intuitive person. It's very difficult for me because I genuinely sense, and I know people have probably heard me say this before and probably thought, oh, she's just crazy, but I genuinely feel the emotions of people that are around me. And sometimes it's so unbearable, especially if they are drawing in from my energy as well, and getting something from the vibrations that I'm giving out. Sometimes I get so exhausted that I just, it's the most crazy feeling. And it's like, yeah, it came to the point now where I'm like, yeah, I gotta get my stuff together. I gotta get my shit together, because now is the time. It's now or never. There is no going back to what I was. I have made peace. I've forgiven every single broken child inside of me that has suffered and was left unattended. I've attended those wounds. I've made sure that they have known that what they went through was worth it, because it was. And I put that on everything because I believe it. Because what you believe is what will manifest. What you focus on is what will manifest. I never went out of my way to intentionally put harm on somebody. Yeah, I have hurt people due to moments where I was blind, and moments where I was so stuck in whatever was going on in my head at that time that nothing else was visible to me. Everything else just seemed like it didn't even exist. Like it was just that and nothing else. So for that reason, because of that survival mode reaching its peak to the point where I had discovered losses, I had discovered being broke, poor on my ass, even up to recent days. I have experienced heartbreak. I have experienced giving my heart to someone who didn't give it back. I've been through that, and I've also been through things that when I was younger, there was a lot of lessons that I had to learn to get to this point, which is the point that I'm trying to get at. It's not a ranting session to clarify, oh, no, like I'm a victim. No, not at all, because I realize that I myself have made so many mistakes based off of how other people treated me. And that's how I realized that it's so, 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 so important, so very important that you focus your energy on what you want in your life. You focus your energy on what it is that you want, and that is what you'll get. Because throughout a whole life of asking why, asking so many questions, having a sense that something wasn't right, that there was something different, but I couldn't ever put my finger on it because, I just thought that everybody else was better than me. I struggle with my identity and the fact that, I struggle with the fact that nobody could be below me, and it's like this false sense of self-esteem that I've been carrying that's been really, really damaging me. It was being very inauthentic to who I was as a person. It was extremely, extremely inauthentic to everybody around me. And I realized that integrity is super important when I went to the program that changed my life, Landmark. Amazing program. Amazing. It's one of those programs that you can't explain, but it's just incredible. And I learned through Landmark and through the amazing people that I met at Landmark, shout out to you guys, that integrity is super, super, super important, because it keys along with the whole idea of what in the spiritual world they call manifestation. So it's very, very, very important for me to make this video, to be honest with the world, with my little world, and to be able to spread that along to outside, to be able to send this message out to the masses, because I know, I don't like to watch the news for obvious reasons. However, it's very obvious that this world needs a lot of love right now. It's very obvious that we need to love each other right now, because at the end of the day, it's not just me alone who's capable of experiencing this. Everybody has a spirit. Everybody has a soul. If you put in the work to awaken it, you will get the rewards that you're expecting. And I didn't realize that that was what I was doing up until my whole entire world changed, when I awakened to this and started seeing this as, maybe this is actually a real thing. Because when you're seeing 111 everywhere, or 222, and you're getting messages like and seeing billboards or quotes on people's phones, or hearing conversations and hearing like things like messages in those conversations that are almost like specifically for you, it gets to the point where it's undeniable. And it is very true that there's a lot of people going through this right now, which is why I have the confidence to be able to speak up on behalf of everybody out there who may be going through this and not understanding what's happening. So that is the purpose of Cancer Dream. Cancer Dream is going to be a lovely channel of mine where I will go and I will be able to provide you guys with lots of different affirmations and meditations. I'm also going to do a few tarot readings, because I am pretty good at reading tarot now. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Also, as well, there's going to be specifics for divine feminine and divine masculine videos coming up. I'm just wanting to get a few specific decks for that. But there will be readings coming up. There will be a general reading for the Divine Feminine Collective tomorrow. I will be putting that out tomorrow in the evening time. And from then on, there's a lot of different things that I have planned for this. I definitely want to follow the feedback of whatever whatever resonates most for the collective and for the people that choose to watch my videos. It's definitely not going to be a channel that's going to be all witchy spiritual. No, I don't like that term, witchy. I don't think it's really a witchy term, because honestly, there's nothing witchy about it, you know? It's just pure love, it's pure vibrations, it's pure positivity, and that's really, if you think about it, all it is that we are all the children, beings of God, and we all have a soul that is, sorry, my phone. We still have a soul that is going somewhere, you know, regardless of whatever religion you believe. There's some sort of idea, unless you believe that there is no life, then that's fine too. But there usually is some sort of reincarnation ideology within religion. So I think that, and it's a very open concept that, you know, it's not something that you have to do. It's just something that, for me, in my case, it really brightened me up. It really brought my spirit alive. It brought me up and alive, and, you know, it's gotten me to the point now where I'm ready. I'm finally ready. And I can say that with confidence, because now is the moment that I've been waiting for my whole life. And I want to be able to be that light for those, because I know there are so many of my beautiful divine beings out there, and my beautiful brothers and sisters out there, that are suffering on a deep level. I just want to let you know that always keep your head above water. Even if you just keep the tip of your nose above water. I promise you that it will all be worth it. In the end, as Ex Tentacion says, in the end, everybody will get what they deserve. So, what you deserve is what you choose to believe that you deserve for yourself. So everybody, stay positive, stay blessed, stay loved. Pura vibra, pura vida.